Hello, it's Karen Burniston here with a card making with dies video tutorial. So for this card, we're going to combine the oval frames pop-up die set with the decorator dies from the flower pot pop-up die set. And you can check out all of our die designs at karenburniston.com. This is part of the Save the Crafty YouTuber video hop, and we are one of the sponsors, so we are sponsoring two $25 gift certificates to our website. All you have to do is comment on videos to be in the random drawings. You need to get those comments in by June 5th, 2019. Okay, the first die set I'll use is the oval frames pop-up die. I'm going to cut 3 pieces from this die set, the largest oval plus the 2 parts of the mechanism. And I'm just using a medium weight green cardstock for this. You can use any die cutting machine that can accommodate a wafer thin die, and today I am using my Spellbinders Platinum 6. Now for an open frame pop-up card, I would cut 1 more of my large oval, but because I'm doing a closed frame pop-up card, I need to cut 3 more. And then 2 of those are going to be used to actually cover up the open frames. I like glue for this, and today I am using my LINECO neutral pH adhesive in my fine tip bottle, and we do sell both of those items on our website. And then after adding those ovals to the frames, I fold right up the middle on that piece. On the big part of the pop-up, the first thing I like to do is just add some lines to the front on the short end of the triangles. That'll just help me when I go to line that up in the card to remember which side of the triangle goes into the fold of the card. And then for training the folds, start by back folding in the middle. And then you'll be able to easily see the diagonal fold that goes through the piece. So you just fold one way through both layers and then turn around and fold the other way through both layers. Okay, opening everything out flat again, the idea is to put your thumb in the center fold so that the ovals will fold towards each other valley style, and the area below will go mountain so that they'll actually kick to the back. And that is all there is to this die. It's really easy. You've got 2 more folds to kick the triangles under. And then depending on how you install this inside the card is whether or not the ovals will drop down from the upper corner or whether they will raise up from the lower corner. For a drop down assembly, which I'm doing today, the missing parts of the center oval are towards the top. So I'm going to give myself an arrow on the outer oval to remind myself which way is up, because once I add those ovals in the center, it might be really easy to get this turned around. And the way I'm going to add those ovals is just going back to my glue, adding some glue in all of the areas that need it, and then just taking those big ovals and lining them up with the curve of the pop-up so that they will fit right in there, but I can still use my slot and I don't have the oval over the center fold. And then I just repeat that for the other oval. Okay, so this is the pop-up ovals. You can see that if I use the triangles, I can collapse it down. And then the last thing is to put the forward ovals in place. So for that, I need to fold in 1 tab on both sides, doesn't matter which, just whatever's easiest. Then I hook in the side I didn't fold, put the other side through, and unfold. So that's all I need to do. The tabs will keep everything in place, so I don't need to do any gluing for that. Okay, I'm going to set this aside and switch to my flower pot pop-up die set. So I'm wanting the decorator flower pots out of this set, and those are 2 identical sets of dies where it's got the pot and then it's got the rim. And what I've done ahead of time is already cut and assembled all of my flowers and cut a whole bunch of vines. So those are ready to go. If you Google how to make a Distress Oxide ink background, you will come up with tons of videos. I would just look for one by Tim Holtz, he's the expert. And then you can make something like this that's kind of that custom terracotta look for the pots. And I am going to cut 5 pots and 5 rims and then assemble them. Okay, now I get to start building my flower pot scene on my oval pop-up. And I'm going to start with the center 2 pots. Now it's fine that the edge goes over a mountain fold, but it's not okay that it crosses a valley fold. So for this first pot, I'm going to need to trim the excess ledge on the left side so that I can get it right up into that valley fold but not cross it. And then I'll choose a location for that first pot. And then what I'll do, since it overhangs in the center, is I'll put the next one staggered above it. And as I add these pots, I'll add the glue to the pop-up, but a little bit lower than I want the top edge of the pot. And that way I'll be able to stick the vines down into the pot when I add them. And then just a quick check to make sure that I'm staying out of the fold enough that it can close down nicely. And then moving on to my next pot. This one I'll have to trim the right edge so that it can get right down into the fold. Then I'll stagger it so that it's higher than the other pot, and that way both of the inside lips can cross that fold. And then for my outer two pots, it's the same thing. I add the adhesive low and make sure that I trim the edge that's going to be in the valley fold, and then just stagger the locations. Okay, for decorating, I started first with the vines and just kind of staggering their location and putting them in the pots and making sure everything will still fold down. And then I just filled in all of those flowers, and I put some of the flowers and vines in the back ovals as well so that it really would give that full look. And now what I can do is fold everything down to determine how big of a card I need to hide all of my flower pots. So this edge is going to be the center of the card. And then what I want to do is just take a ruler and measure out to the most outermost point of my pot into that center line. And in my case, it's a little bit over 4.5, so that I know a 5x7 card is a perfect size. So I started with a piece of cardstock, 10 inches by 7 inches, scored in the center for folding, and then to that I added panels of a pretty patterned paper. And then to put the pop-up inside the card, I've got the line to remind me which edge of the triangle gets lined up in the fold, and it's that short edge where my line is. And then I can place that anywhere along the fold as long as on the right side I'm paying attention that I'm low enough that my bouquet is being hidden by the card. So once I have a location where all that can happen, then I want to put a strong adhesive on the triangle that I can see. So this triangle here, I want to coat that with an adhesive. You could use glue, you can use tape, just as long as you keep it right in the fold of the card. So what I like to do is hold it firmly while I carefully close the card against that exposed adhesive and try not to let it slide. So keep kind of pushing it into the fold as you go. And then I'll give that a press, and I'm going to give it even more time to set up because I'm going to flip that card over and open it. That will give me access to the other triangle. And so again, I'm going to coat that with adhesive, making sure that I'm generous with it, hold everything flat, and then close the card against that adhesive. And of course I need to be patient with that glue. I'm asking a lot of it for those two little triangles to hold up all of those flower pots and vines and flowers. But a strong adhesive will do it. Just be careful that first time you open it. Maybe kind of help it open a little bit so that the triangles don't want to just pop up. Maybe reach in there and press them down just to make sure that they have a good seal. And that's all there is to it. The pop-up is working. So as the card opens, the pop-up will drop down from that upper corner. Makes a beautiful display piece. The gravity of the items on the oval frames kind of pull it down into that viewing position. Once that pop-up is installed, you will have a bend to the card in the open position. In other words, it doesn't open all the way fully flat anymore. If you tried to do that, I'm afraid you would probably pop the triangles up, or the flower pots would just go too low. So as you're working on your card, once it's in that popped up position, just prop something under your card so that you don't have to try and flatten it out to work on it. And my idea is to take advantage of all that sort of blank space up above the flower pots to actually add to the bouquet by gluing down my extra vines and flowers in the background. Now that's something that I have to be careful as I do because I don't want to create catch points for the pop-up itself. But as long as I glue everything down really well, so no like little flappy flappies, nothing on pop dots, I keep everything nice and flat, then I can go ahead and fill out that bouquet in the background of the card. So here's my finished card interior, and it includes a greeting of love you put on one of the pots. That's from our word set 9. My favorite way to do card fronts for pop-up cards is just to take my leftover materials and make a simple lead-in. So my last pot, the remaining flowers and vines, a little piece of ribbon, and my leftover papers. I've cut 2 bees out of glitter cardstock and then 2 of them out of black cardstock with score tape on top. So that way those will become stickers. And then for my wire, I'm just going to use something small and round like this paintbrush to wrap the wire around to give it a curlicue. So I peel the liner off of the black bees and then stick the end of the wire into the tape. On the glitter bees, I'm going to color them using some alcohol markers. So I've got a C10 and a Y17 with Copic. I'm just going to color all of the middle part of the body yellow and then add the black head and stripes. And then that goes right over the top of the sandwich. So the wire ends up between the two bees and they're nice and solid because it's 2 layers with wire sandwiched between. And then to attach the bee inside the pot, I just have a piece of cardstock with some score tape on it so it's nice and strong. I'm going to choose a location and then just press that to the inside of the pot. He'll have to come quite a bit lower because of course this is far too high. It'll stick right out of the card. So all I have to do then is just adjust the wire. I just bent the wire into a fun shape until the bee stayed within the card. And then I used pop dots behind the bee for the front of the card. The finished card is 5x7 and will mail easily in an A7 envelope. If you are hopping along on the Save the Crafty YouTuber video hop, you'll want to check the description box below this YouTube video. It will give you a direct link to the next stop on the hop. And do leave comments on the videos as you go. That'll put you in the running for those prizes as long as it's before June 5th, 2019. You will also find a link to the blog post and supplies in that description box. Thanks for watching. If you click on the website link, you'll go to KarenBurniston.com where you'll find more information about purchasing these dies as well as links to all my other social media accounts. You can subscribe to this YouTube channel, and as promised, I've linked those 2 videos right here on the end screen. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.